What's good, people? This is S. Foster of the Stolen Time Podcast, and you are tuned into episode 204 of the podcast. Now, before I get into you, Mark, man, I misspoke on the last 28 minutes, the last podcast that I did. And everybody know that, Uncle Washington is the co-host of this podcast.
Yeah.
And what I ended up misspeaking about was I said, I didn't mean to say it this way. I kind of said it like I'm straight up done with Uncle Washington. Like
Mhm.
when I heard it back, I said it wrong. And what I was
Mhm.
trying to say is like Uncle Washington is going through some health things right now. And so he's not able to join the podcast. So I was just saying that I don't know when he's going to be back. There's no time frame for this. I don't really want to put his personal business out there because me and him wasn't able to necessarily discuss if he wanted me to say exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But as of this time, I'm pretty much holding down the fort. I was happy enough and lucky enough that you was able to join me today. But you're a part of the team, you're part of the podcast. You've been on here before, introducing the guy Mark Bennett, man. But so I'm getting into you, man. How you been, man? How COVID been treating you, man?
Man, I've been good. COVID has been unique. You've been able to do some soul searching. You've been able to just just check inside yourself and just think. Been able to have a lot of time to myself and evaluate things in my life and stuff that's going on. But I was able to get my COVID vaccine, so I was happy about that. And I'm ready for life to get back to normal.
Okay, now I got to talk to you about that. Now hold on. Now before we get to there, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Remind the people what you do, man. You work down at Central
Okay.
Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a web developer, and so when COVID hit, I worked from started working from home. So it's been about a year for me for working from home. And it's been interesting. It's had its good and its bad. As far
Hmm.
as good, being able to work from home, don't have to drive to the office, saving money, and stuff of like that nature. I've been able to, wash clothes and work at the same time, or do yard work whenever. Um, and now I also have a baby on the way, so I'm excited about that. Um, it's been a good time, um, and I've been enjoying working from home. So I'm hoping to be able to stay remote longer.
That's what's up, man. And obviously we've been talking, behind the scenes, but I've told you before, but I'm saying it publicly, man. Congratulations on the baby and
Thank you,
everything.
thank you, thank you.
And so, man, you got the COVID shot. Did you get the 2 rounds of it, or
No,
like
no, man. I was able to get that golden shot, that
the
Johnson and
Johnson and
Johnson. Yeah,
Johnson? Yeah.
I will get that gold shot. It's not as effective as the other two, but like it'll fight off. If I were to get it, it would fight off any of the severe effects of COVID and stuff. So
Yeah,
that's fine with that.
that's what's up, man. Like I mean, personally, man, it's like for me, I haven't really noticed. I mean, the only thing that's really been like different in my life as far as the COVID and the pandemic and all that stuff is just having to get used to wearing a mask at work. Cause like
Yeah.
my stuff never stopped, never slowed down. It actually got,
No.
it actually picked up and got worse, for a minute. So
Hmm.
that's what, my experience of this whole pandemic has been. So, you've been working from home and getting all those type things done. So for me, it's just been like, it's like everybody have like their own different experiences.
Yeah.
Now we haven't even been approached about the COVID
Yeah.
vaccine. You know what I'm saying? Like even though
Mhm.
I'm an essential worker, it's just like
Yeah.
we're not being looked at like the health workers and police officers and
Mhm.
all that
Education.
type. Yeah,
Yes.
educate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because teachers are getting pushed
Hmm.
up as
Yeah.
well. Like actually today, my son, like my youngest son, does virtual. He never was able to go back to school,
Hmm.
And so he had to get back on at 12:30, and the teacher came on at 12:30 and told them that she had to get her vaccination, and she'll see them back at 2:20. So it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
them teachers are getting their rounds of the COVID
Yeah.
shot. So
So
that's.
I mean, that's basically how I was able to get mine was through education.
Hmm.
And so and going back to when COVID began, like for me being a web developer, when COVID began, it was rough.
I bet it was.
It was rough, because classes are now going to online now. In and because I work in a high office, like that makes policies. Like now we have to create new policies for COVID. We never had policies for the whole campus shutting down. We never had policies for faculty. So students are looking for direction, faculty's looking for direction. And as a university, we're looking for directions from the CDC and the president as to what to do. We're looking at what surrounding schools are doing. So that month of March and April for me was rough
Hmm.
because we were trying to get a lot of content up on the web because that was the only way to really communicate to people. Um, and meetings all went to online. And so they were relying on me to update and build and create a lot of platforms to get this information out to the students and faculty.
Damn, boy. But you had a
Mm.
very important job during the COVID. So that
Mhm.
wasn't no just like, oh well, I'm
Nah.
gonna sign on real quick and just
Mm-mm.
nah, like
Mm-mm.
people actually counted on you to get things done, man, in a
Yeah,
timely fashion.
yeah,
At that.
and like I said, I'm working with the provost, vice presidents, all to make sure that not only is the information up there to make sure that it's accurate. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because we don't have um, we can't put out wrong information.
Hmm.
So it's double checking information before we put it up on the web and getting several eyes to see it and making sure our message is clear and concise and we're meeting the needs of the campus.
Oh yeah, and then it's also got to be difficult, man, just being in the state of Florida, man. I listened to the Dan Levitard show, and they based down in
Mhm.
Miami, and they're just talking about like. And then also Andrew Schultz has like moved down to
Yeah, I
Florida
seen that.
temporarily, and he's talking about like they're getting on people who are wearing masks when they walk into places. So
Hmm.
so how difficult is that, and how much are you going out? Because like Florida is kind of on their own set
Hmm.
of rules right now, man.
Man, Florida will be Florida. Like Charlemagne the God said, the craziest stuff happens in the Bronx and all of Florida.
Florida, yep.
All right, we gonna do what we do. Like we really don't care about rules. To be honest with you, I mean, I did. I wore my mask and I had hand sanitizer on all the time. But like Florida, like semi closed down. Florida really never really like closed down. Um, you know, I have been, going to a few restaurants and stuff. Um, the theme park's still going strong down here in Orlando. They're at a lower capacity, but they're still allowing people in. They do have hand sanitizer stuff everywhere. So Florida is going to be Florida, and we're going to break every rule possible.
Hey, boy. Hey, boy, you ain't lying, boy, and I'm about to break them with you, man. Like we've been, what I'm saying? We've been talking and been in communication,
Mhm.
man. And I'm trying to make my way down
Mhm.
there, man. Probably like the end of July. But I'm coming with the hand sanitizer, with the mask and
Yeah,
everything, man. Like,
and, and so now that I got my COVID shot, boy, I'm feeling a little bolder.
yeah, I bet, man. I bet. Like, I haven't had it. What I'm saying? My girl got it. She got the other one though. She had to have the two.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
I know there's a
and
Pfizer and a Madeira.
yeah, and she had the shimmies when she got the second one, but
Yeah,
they said that was normal because it was kind of like your body, what I'm saying, adjusting to those different, the different stuff that they put into it to make you immune to this. I guess you would call it immune to the stuff that they put in you as far as being able to fight the COVID. But like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be semi breaking rules with you, man. When I make my way down there. But like Florida, man, Florida's a fun place, man.
yeah,
And people look at Florida, man, because it's like, I mean, it's at the very bottom. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And like everybody just like, yo, we could do what we want down here. I'm hearing all these stories about like the real estate is going crazy down there because people are just either temporarily renting places, and because of how strict New York is taking it, like a lot of New Yorkers, people like Andrew
Okay.
Schultz, who got the money to just move down there. Like a lot of people from
Yeah, a
New
lot of
York are just
people.
moving down there.
I mean, a lot of people in general came to Florida because, like I said, we never really like shut all the way down. So people flock to Florida um, just to relax and chill out while we go through COVID.
Man, hey, it's the Sunshine State, man. It's the
Yeah,
Sunshine State.
Sunshine State, and people crazy.
Yeah, you got that shit right, man. Listen, we're gonna jump into some topics, man. Like, sadly, we got to get into this 21-year-old dude, man, walked into what I'm saying, massage spot, shot and killed 8 people, 6 of them Asian people, and I think the 2 people who were killed were just a man and a woman. I think there was a couple. I can't remember if they were married or not, but they were just in there, man, just
Yeah,
caught those shells for no reason. And what's disappointing about this is like we all know that it's a hate crime,
yeah.
towards Asian people, but they're trying to make excuses saying that the dude had a bad day and he got a sex addiction
Hmm.
and all this little stuff, said that he frequently went there and it ain't got nothing to do with race, other than just come out and say that this dude is a white terrorist.
Yeah.
Man, like
Well,
like go ahead, you got it.
well, that's the white privilege, right? White privilege is going to protect white privilege. That's where that one sheriff came out and said he was just having a bad day. How you shoot 8 people and have a bad day? Like, if I shot 8 people, that ain't no bad day for me. That ain't no bad day to me. Like, a bad day is, I don't know, like maybe somebody passing or maybe I drink a bottle of liquor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a bad day for me. Ain't going out shooting 8 people is not a bad day.
Yeah,
Um,
like what you mean? Like he had a bad day is like, what I'm saying, you get into a car accident, you know what I'm
hmm
saying? You just walk into a store and like somebody bump you and you know what I'm saying? Like you don't just justify by shooting 8 people of, oh well, he was having a bad day, and like it justifies it.
hmm
But then like when and see, look, this is the thing about what's going on with this country, and what really sucks about it is because like this is what they do. Like this is really based off of this whole COVID stuff by saying that by you know the 45th president coming out and saying that this virus is from China and calling
hmm
it the China virus and all of this, and now they're attacking the Asian community. And you got to remember what happened like a month ago. Jeremy Lin came out and said
Yeah.
that he was getting called names during games that was insensitive to his race. And then like this is not, obviously it's not the first time and it's not going to be the last, but you can even take it back to 2011. I mean, not 2011, 2001, when 9/11 happened.
hmm
They started just brutalizing the Muslim community because it was Muslims who took over the planes and crashed them into the World Trade Centers. So it's just like anytime that there's something going out in the world and these people want to act like the thing is like they want to act like they're being threatened, and then they just come out and
Mm.
demonize these people because of their race.
Well, and that goes to another white privilege of where instead of actually talking about racism and talking about the issues, they get defensive, and they try to find ways to avoid the issue of, like you said, saying this is not a hate crime. And that's a way for them to not talk about race in America. Because if they were to talk about race in America, that means they would have to look in the mirror. And nobody wants to look in the mirror.
Hey, but apparently that's the worst place to look. You
It
know,
is because you can point out everybody else's flaws, but when it comes to pointing out your flaws, you ain't trying to do that.
yeah, those scars that they don't want to uncover because
Hmm.
the thing is like when you look at, I mean, even these crimes that's been happening. I mean, even the Kyle Rittenhouse dude. I mean, dude, they had if I'm not mistaken, there was a GoFundMe page, and
Yeah.
they was able to get enough money to bail this dude out, and this dude is just out in bars where he's too young to be in bars. Out there's
Hmm.
pictures with him in bars just drinking like ain't nothing happened, like everything is sweet, and it's like this dude is a white terrorist, my guy. But like these people are defending him by saying that, oh well, people was attacking him, and he was just defending himself. And it's like, well, first off, what is this 17-year-old ass doing out there in the first place?
And first of all, he came over there, right? He
Yeah,
didn't have to come over there. He had no reason to be over there in the first place.
he drove through state lines, my guy, to get there.
Hmm.
That wasn't his community. That's not where
Nope.
he was from. It wasn't even his state. And so this man, it happened down in Atlanta, and just to go down there and to just do these crimes against these people because, and the thing is, like, we know what it's like as far as like, just being black, but they do this to it's like the flavor of the month. Like
Hmm.
when the homosexual people or the LGBTQ community, something going on with them. You remember it happened in Florida. One man went to, shot up
Yeah,
a gay
Pulse.
nightclub.
Yeah,
You know what
Colonel
I'm saying?
Pulse.
And like that was the flavor of the month. And then they tried to make it. I mean, I think that there was no way to dance around that was a hate crime. You know what I'm saying? Because it started to come out that he went to that club numerous times and he
Hmm.
was just, in the closet about it. But then I don't know if it was one of those situations where somebody embarrassed him or if it was that, it was starting to come out what the dude was doing and he just shot the thing up. And it's so disappointing, man, because if a black person gets shot down, what the first thing they do is they dig into his past.
Hmm.
Oh, well, he got this in his past, or he sold weed, or he got caught with possession when he was 17 years old. And it's like they'll justify that from a cop killing him. But then you got a dude out here, and it's reported that he had just bought that gun like a day or two before, and then went in there and shot the place up, and now all of a
But
sudden
you
he got a sex addiction.
but you see how they frame it, right? As a black person's past, they'll dig into it and say, he's always been a problem, right? And then as a white person, you dig into their past and they've had a troubled childhood, right? You see how they frame it different. They could be doing the same thing. The papers will always word it different. This person has a troubled childhood. This person is a thug, and they really had a troubled childhood a lot of the times, um, and they use that to justify uh, their actions. And
Yeah,
but you see, just like Dylan, just like this last guy, they all safe, unscratched, and whatnot.
yeah, and
Which
like
let
like
which lets me know that they do know how to do policing without force.
Yeah, I mean that's been dude, that's been proven time and time and time again because I mean there are videos that are out publicly, like public videos that's showing guys, like white guys, actually. I seen a video. He wrestled two cops to the ground,
Mm-hmm.
took their gun, and got in their car and stole it and drove off. And this dude was apprehended later. And it's just like we don't even get the opportunity. Like we get pulled over, it's the hand on a gun already.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think the blunt of this conversation though of what I want to stay around is just the fact of, you know, when it comes to the Asian community, and you can even throw the Muslim community and the gay community in this, it's just like the message that a guy like Fred Hampton put together, and we've seen that in Judas and the Black Messiah, is that, if we all come together, we all got common issues, you know what I'm saying? Things that we can work out. In this last election, it was one of those things where, a lot of these people did come together for one cause for the most part, And it's still upsetting to see that like around 75 million people still voted for Donald Trump. But that
Yeah.
right there just lets you know like how actually divided this country is, because there are going to be some people, because there already was a famous figure who came out and defended this guy by saying that, you know, it's these people's fault that we have the coronavirus and all this type stuff. But like my thing is, okay, so going into a massage parlor in Atlanta, like what is that gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, is
Mhm.
that gonna solve coronavirus?
No. Well, and you have to realize, like, Trump created a cult. Like he has a cult following to where um now he is seen as a messiah. They worship him. And so whatever he says goes. And if he says it, they believe it. But ever since the election, some of them are waking up. Well, not waking up. Some of them are, I guess, in disgust that he lost and that a lot of the stuff he was saying were lies. And he really has created a cult, and the church has helped create that cult. The church itself has helped create a Trump cult.
Dude, it's funny you bring that up because I've been watching like my guy Scoots got me
Mhm.
on this one thing called Heaven's Gate, right? And
Okay.
it's Coats are all Coats, they call it. And it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
It's these people who, I think it was 37. It was 37 or 38 people. They all killed themselves in this mansion. Ah man, I hate that. I can't remember what it was. And like these people actually believed that they was going to be abducted by
Mhm.
aliens. You know what I'm saying? And so they like created like this religion, and they thought that they was going to, go to outer space when they died. And then I'm still not finished. I'm on the second part, but I'm watching Murder in the Mormons.
Okay.
And like, the Normans, like that was a self-made religion.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening in that one was the fact of this guy got in contact with a direct descendant of a person who created Normanism or whatever they call it.
Mhm.
And there was documents that showed that if people read it, you could see that some of the stuff is like fake or something like that.
Mhm.
And so when these people was talking about exposing this stuff, man, they just started blowing people's houses up.
Mm.
Like, dude, it is nuts. It's on Netflix. It just came out
Okay.
like 2 weeks ago, and like they were just blowing. Like one person house got blown up, and it was meant for the guy, but the guy's wife was home and blew her up, and she died. And then another person, they blew his car up, and like so they was trying to get rid of all this evidence just to cover up like the truth about it, but they don't want those people to see that their religion was
Mhm.
I mean, fake, really. But but we see that in Christianity. Like it's the same thing. Like all of these religions, that's why I remember when they got into when Da Vinci Code first came out, and like there was people who was sending death threats to Ron Howard for even putting this movie out because what it was saying was everything we told you all your life is a lie. That there was actually this person that they said was a prostitute was actually his wife and she carried his bloodline. You know what I'm saying? But I done went off into a tangent,
Yeah.
but like man, it sucks, man. I hate to see that the Asian people are going through this, but I mean, you know, if they're not gonna get into the root of this issue, man, I mean, I see it happening again. I mean, I'm not surprised. This is
Mhm.
shit that happens all the time,
Oh yeah.
and prayers out to the people in Atlanta, man.
I mean, it's bound to happen again, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's so embedded into America. Like, people are surprised this happens, but until we address the root cause of the issue, we're still going to be faced with these type of acts.
Yep. Unfortunately, man. Unfortunately, but hey, welcome to America.
Hmm.
Um. So, man, to another really fucked up subject, man. So Myers Leonard, former Miami Heat player, um, got traded to OKC today, and I mean, I don't think he's ever going to see a game. But what makes this story a story is the fact of like 2 weeks ago, he said a anti-Semitic slur on a Twitch thing. Before I go forward, you are a huge gamer. Do you be on
Yeah.
Twitch?
Um, I'll be on Facebook's version. Facebook
Oh,
game.
okay.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, okay.
Hmm.
But but yeah, he was on Twitch, man. Said a anti-Semitic slur, and the Heat ended up finding him. Well, no. Excuse me. The NBA fined him 500,000. The Heat suspended him indefinitely instead of cutting him. Now, instead of cutting him, they just suspended him indefinitely, traded him today, and basically they got a piece in Trevor Ariza. And
Hmm.
it's just the fact you brought up a good point, man, about how differently they're treating these people. Because when this dude did it, he basically kept his job. But you brought up the point when Nick Cannon did it. At the time, he lost his job for a while.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, it just shows you how people are treated differently. Um, and let's be honest, Nick Cannon is worth way more to those networks than he is worth to the NBA or the Heat. And they got rid of Nick Cannon. But luckily Nick Cannon is able to come back with Wild 'N Out because Wild 'N Out was a great platform for comedians, especially comedians of color, to showcase their work to the world. And without that platform, it was hard. I know we have like new platforms like Kevin on Stage. Have you watched Kevin on Stage?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it. I've heard
Hmm.
about it, but to your point of the platform that Nick Cannon has created on Wildin' Out and how long Wildin' Out has been going on and how famous these people has gotten from Wildin' Out. Maybe Kevin could get to that point, but I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I really like Kevin's content. Um, it's funny, and he has a lot of it's mostly black content, so which is good, and he puts on a lot of black and comedians of color and stuff. A lot of his crew is of color, his film crew, and all that stuff. It's called Kevin on Stage. I think it's on Apple and Android and Roku and all those devices. I don't know when I bought it. And I bought a year for like $49. I don't know how much it is now, um, but it's a good platform, and I'm glad to see more people of color start their own platform, so we keep the money in the ecosystem. And anybody can watch it. It's just that were able to control the content. Like even with Nick Cannon at Wildin' Out, let's talk about the Carlos Miller situation, right? The
Mhm.
hires up fired Carlos Miller without Nick knowing, and it was the fans and Nick to come bring Carlos back. That's how much power Nick has, and that's how much power the fans have, the voice we have. So, and if we're ever to create a platform like that, for me, I see now like the 85 South show is on the Charlemagne's iHeart Black
Black Effect Network.
Black Effect Network, and I see a lot more podcasts are on there. I I would really like to see them join Kevin on Stage Network. I know iHeart has a bigger reach, but I would love to see them on Kevin on Stage Network and see that. Even like Kevin Hart is creating opportunities too.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Like, but you know what? But even with that though, I think that there could be multiple ones.
Yeah, there
Um,
can be multiple ones.
yeah, and I think that all of them can have their own, success and all have a come up. And it's just what it does is it gives everybody options. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not filling up the Black Effect Network, and it's not filling up Kevin's
Hmm.
Kevin Hart's thing is kind of like, at least these guys got options to be like, which one of these places fit well for me?
Yeah,
Because if there's only one place, that's just like BET for a long time. It was
yeah,
really only one place. And it's just like if you could create another space, and then it's not that thing of like, well, it get too diluted of like, well, we have a personality that's just like you. What's the point of having two of you when
yeah,
your better option could be going to Kevin's spot? So yeah, I think that they should keep their two
yeah.
spaces,
I
man.
mean, no, I'm fine with two spaces, but I'm also in the thing of like I said, like Kevin on Stage, like he owns it, like it's his, he owns it, right? As far
Hmm.
as iHeart owns it, and going back to BET, right? BET, I think they're back to it, but they're owned by Viacom, right? So
Hmm.
it's not really black owned,
Yeah.
and they still got to answer to those higher executives and stuff. So I'm fine with multiple um, platforms. I think that's good because we have a lot of content out here that needs to be seen, and I'm just glad these artists are taking stuff into their own hands now, and a lot of people are going independent and getting keeping their masters and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah,
so
and oh yeah, and look, yeah, we're gonna get back to Myers Leonard, but we're on a good conversation here. But like even with Jay-Z's telling title, you know what I'm
hmm
saying? And what people don't seem to understand it, like in the things that he done as far as with the Aces of Spades drink and all that type stuff. Like Jay-Z has, even when it come to title, like a lot of people were not jumping on the title because like a lot of people didn't get the significance of what Jay-Z was trying to do. And it's like now the people who are heavy in the business and things being black owned and all this type stuff, even when it comes to Swizz Beatz and Timbaland,
yeah,
with the verses thing, they
yeah.
sold some of it to the Triller. But not only
Mhm.
did they sell it to the Triller, I think it was 68 people
Mhm.
have been on verses. All of them got a piece of it when they sold it to Twiller. So it's looking good out there in that space, man.
Well, yeah, right. Let's say like Jay-Z, he sold it, right? They still own a piece of the new company, and all those artists that bought into it early, they got paid too. I think a lot of them got paid like at least 1.5 million, and they still own ownership in the new company. So Jay-Z made sure they still had ownership in a new company, in which the guy on Twitter is the one who bought it. So it's going to be interesting to see how he integrates that into Twitter and stuff. In which I think I'm not certain if he started PayPal too. So it's going to be interesting to see how he integrates all that stuff. So I know he's going to take the platform to a new level. It's just to see how far he's going to be able to take it.
True.
And
True.
like you
I mean,
said, did you see your boy? I forgot his name from Power. I never really watched Power. He was
Amari
mad.
Hardwick.
I guess he was mad at Swizz Beatz and Timberlane for selling verses.
Oh, the kid,
Yeah.
Rainy,
Hmm.
something Rainy. Yeah, he don't know. He
Yeah.
don't know what he's doing. He don't know what
No,
he's talking
and
about.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, young man, instead of getting on social media, like, why don't you try and get in contact with Swiss or Timberlane and ask them why they did it, right?
Yeah,
And if you would have asked that question, I'm sure they would have educated him, or somebody would have educated him. Like,
yeah,
they sold the company, they made money, but they still have equity into the company. Because he was mad. We're always selling stuff out to white people and all that stuff. But at the same time, like, how exactly are you gonna supposed to make wealth, right?
yeah. And then you
You
gotta
gotta
also
sell it.
realize. Then you gotta also realize they started this just on Instagram. They wasn't getting paid for
Yeah.
this at all. So they started
Hmm.
something where they was getting zero money for it, and now they got. You know what I'm saying? What? It's more than six figures. They got like nine figures. You know what I'm
Well, and
saying? For something that they got for free.
you also have to realize the pandemic. Artists are going back on the road now, right? So,
Hmm.
like, trying to get artists is gonna be harder now than it was before, because all those artists were sitting at home and they weren't on the road. Now these artists are going back on the road, so it's gonna be harder to get artists um, on the platform. I think they'll still be able to get artists, especially if an artist has an upcoming album or something like that, to get them on verses.
Yeah, I think it was a brilliant move. I'm
Mm,
not mad at Timberland and Swiss Beats. And then even then though, they could have done that deal and just been like, "Yo, we just split these profits." Like they
mhm,
made sure we want to give thanks to the 68 people who have been on here up until
mhm,
this point. And like, even though they share is small, they still got six, 7 figures. No, I think they got 7 figures. They still got 7 figures for just
mhm,
appearing on the show. And not only did they get 7 figures, but you got to think every person that has been on Versus, they streams went up after the Versus.
mhm,
So those people was already getting more streams and more money just off the strength of being on the show. And now that they sold it and he gave them a stake, and like that's even go like we got Ghostface and Raekwon coming on. Like all
mhm,
those people who's been on before, they're gonna get a piece of this just because they own a stake in it.
mhm,
So I think Michael Rainey, yeah, it's Michael Rainey Jr. He's young. He don't really know what he's talking about. I don't know if he's just trying to get attention right
mhm,
now because what I'm saying Pablo Book is off and
mhm,
his name ain't being spoken of. But that was a bad decision to come out and speak on this because he has no idea what he's talking about.
mhm.
But
Jay Z is a businessman, and he does most of his business behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what Jay Z doing until it's done.
yeah, just like the deal with the NFL and like and look how people shitted on Jay-Z when he first
Mhm.
got with the NFL.
Oh yeah.
And now we see that him being with the NFL, how things are changing now. Are some of the things changing slowly? yeah, it might be changing slowly, but the fact of just having a black man in the room, because it's not just, he's coming up with talent for the halftime show and shit
Mhm.
like that. No, like Jay-Z has gotten them to some of their money going to black communities, that black neighborhoods, black businesses. Like now they're doing stuff that they wasn't doing before. Even though they're a multi-billion-dollar company, you got to start somewhere. And Jay-Z got these people to start somewhere.
Well, and like for me, a lot of times you go in some of these meetings and whatnot, and you're the only black person in the room, right? So
Yep.
like you have to be able to do your job, but at the same time make sure people like you who look like you are also able to benefit um, too. And it's rough. You know what I mean? Because you're like, I'm the only one doing this fight. Um,
Hmm.
and then you have people at lower levels complaining you're not doing enough, you're not doing that, you're like, bro, you just don't understand what battles we having.
Yeah. And like anybody can jump on a podcast or jump on a radio, jump on an interview
Hmm.
and say something bad, but it's like you ain't in those rooms. You ain't
No,
in Jay-Z's position. You're not taking those bullets that he's
no.
taking for people.
Mm-mm.
And
like
and
like like I said, a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes, and a lot of stuff is political, um, and you just got to learn how to navigate the political aspect of it too, So it's navigating the political aspect, trying to keep your job while trying to bring people up with you.
and then another thing, when streams, Title paid more for
Hmm.
streams than any other company did.
Hmm.
And people had nothing but bad stuff to say about
Yeah,
it.
because of the
Now,
prices and all that
yeah,
stuff.
because like the thing is, like we all like this is the thing. We all like free shit for number one. Like who don't? I mean, you can't be mad at free shit. But then at the same time, it's like, and I get it. I get it, but I never spoke bad about it. Now, I personally never got Title. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But that's only because it's like, okay, I got this podcast going, I'm paying a
Hmm.
little bit for that for certain things. Then I got Napster, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You got TV, and
Hmm.
then everybody got their own little thing, and I got
Yeah.
HBO Max, and whether you got Hulu, and it's just like you paying for everything. And I think that what happened with Title, what Title got stuck at was like most people got Apple phones, so it's just like well,
Hmm.
most people paying Apple Music, so they're like, so I get all my music here already, so I'm paying $10 here, for music, and now I got to pay another fee,
Hmm.
to get you. But some people will pay that extra because they're like, yo, I want to support a black band.
Hmm.
But he was able to, you know, get with Apple and do the stuff that he doing with them. And I think Jay-Z is a brilliant dude, man. And I think that this goes completely beyond the music. And I think that when it's all said and done, when we see what he's doing with the NFL, what he done with Title, what he done with Ace of Spades, what he done with the 40/40 clubs, and
Hmm.
all of that type stuff. Because Jay-Z, like honestly, the money that the least amount of money that's coming in is rap money. Like
Yeah. Well,
like
and that's the thing. Like, you should always be evolving, right? That's like Rihanna, right? Rihanna ain't got to sing no more with her
no,
clothing line and her perfume line. Like, Rihanna can sing for fun. Like,
exactly.
is she worth a billion yet? Or she getting close to it?
She getting close to it. And then you want to know something else? People want to talk about stuff being Michael Rainey saying that that Timberland and Swizz Beatz is a sellout. Rihanna don't own all of Fenty,
Mm-mm.
so is she a sellout too?
Yeah.
You see
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying? That's why sometimes you should really think before you speak on some of these people's situations because, like Rihanna has, basically like almost. If I'm not, man, I think I heard the headline though. I think that she crossed the billion. I could
Mm-mm.
be wrong. If she hasn't crossed the billion, she's
Yes.
damn near close to it,
Mm-hmm.
and she don't own all of that. So she's making money for people, but at the same time, those people wouldn't be making that type of money if it wasn't for
Yes.
Rihanna as well.
Yes. Well, and like you can't do nothing on your own, right? At the end of the day, as much as we want to, at some point in time in our life, we're gonna need help, right?
Yeah.
And so it might be that company is able to help her market her product, right? They have a global network, or maybe it's production. That company is helping her produce the mass produce the product. So, you have to make some of these, even though you might not want to, sometimes you got to make these deals to be able to grow.
Oh yeah, for sure. And at a smaller capacity, they're just like, me starting this podcast. Like I thought, I started it by myself with the opinions of you. Like you were the first person that I even told I was gonna do this, and you was giving me opinions, and then I brought in Uncle Washington, then I brought in Casey, and you know what I'm saying? Then with Casey, then Scoots came along, and then you know what I'm saying? Then next thing you know, Jamal come along, then it's like, you know what I'm saying? It just generated a team of when I just started something by myself.
Hmm.
But within saying that, man, I had a great point off of what you were saying. Um, it was about, oh man, I never forgot what it was.
Well, I talked about marketing and production and
Oh yeah. I got it. Yeah, when people go independent, like with music, right? Now, it's one of the hardest things to do is to go independent. Like that's why a
yes,
lot of the times people who like they would start off with a label, then they would go independent. But even within going independent,
it's rough.
sometimes, yeah, it's rough, but you also need a distribution deal sometimes.
Yeah.
So you could be independent, but then you need somebody
Hmm.
to distribute your stuff. But at the same time, but now with it
Yeah.
not being so caught up in physical stuff anymore, you might not even need a distribution deal anymore because everything is streaming now. And
Well,
then what comes to
I'm about to say, and back in the day, like Master P, right?
Mhm.
Master P was signed, and then he went independent, and that's why Master P is worth so much money now because he went independent, and he was able to market himself. Um, you know, it's rough, but now you look at artists like Plows, right?
Mhm.
Um, Plows is like the single king. You know what I mean? And Fat Joe went independent. Like these artists no longer really come out with albums per se. They just come out with one song. Like why spend all this time working on a full fledged album and all people want to hear is one or two songs? Um, because they have a whole mix of stuff. So just come out with one song, and you see how hard like Plows advertise himself. I mean, he got the funniest Instagram.
Of
You ever
all
see?
time, bro. Hey, bro, that dude, man, I'm
but
telling you.
but you know what I'm saying? He's able to do it independently and market himself. He found his niche to be able to market himself without having a label, and now he's able to do shows and stay independent, but still stay relevant in the media and in the news.
Yeah, and like even the guy, another guy from your neck of the woods, like Ace Hood, like he started
Yeah.
out, under a label with
Hmm.
DJ Khaled, and he
Hmm.
went independent. But the sad thing about him going independent is, a lot of people who didn't really,
Hmm.
fuck with Ace Hood from the beginning, who didn't follow him and knew what he was going on, he wasn't as global anymore.
Yeah.
So his sales and stuff went down. Now what was great was his first independent album still went gold. And what was so
Hmm.
great, man, his wife had she actually went to a place and got him a gold plaque made
Okay.
because he wasn't under a label because the labels do that stuff
Yeah.
for you. And
Hmm.
like, dude, I was like, man, it touched me because it's like for to have that support from your significant other because like she even said it in the post. She was like, I know how hard you work to get this label off, and you're not under a label, and your album with gold. and I wanted to go out and get you a platinum. I'm not a platinum, but a gold platinum made. And like he cried, you know what I'm saying? And it was a great thing to see that, you know, somebody supports you and actually get the game the way that she get it. But another person who came up who never signed a record label and they still independent to this day, and they're one of the highest paid musicians in the game right now. As far as rappers, he's probably like the highest paid rapper right now, and nobody talks about him. And that's Russ.
Mm-hmm.
What Russ used to do, he used to put a song out a day, every day, no, every week. Every week he put a song out every week. Starting like about 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, he put a song out every week on SoundCloud, and then he just grew this following, and he just blew up, and he never signed a deal with anybody, and he's one of the highest paid dudes now because he's
Yeah.
been independent the whole time.
Well, and like I said, that's the advancement of social media, right? That's
Yep.
now you don't need a distribution deal, um, because you can use your own social media to grow your following, and with streaming services, people can find you easily. They ain't trying to go to the store and see if they gotta see if your CD is at the store anymore. It's automatically on these streaming services. So nowadays it's being able to market yourself and getting your 15 minutes of fame, but also staying hot, and whatnot. But it's also finding other avenues to make money too. A lot of these independent artists have other avenues to make money too. Once they start getting a little money, they invest their money in different things too, so they don't have to rely on music per
Oh
se.
yeah, like Nas. Nas got into the Ring doorbells.
Mm-hmm.
Nas
Nas,
made more. He made more money in Ring doorbells than his CDs.
man, Nas got in a lot of different investments.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
just like what's that old rapper? Um, was it Charmeleon, or what was the
Oh,
name?
Chameleonaire, Chameleonaire.
Chameleonaire. Yeah, he started getting in investments and all that stuff, and and he's worth a lot of money, and he hadn't rapped in a
Oh
well.
God,
He might
since
still be
we was in
rapping.
college.
He might still be rapping, but I ain't look for it.
Yeah, but I ain't heard this dude since we was in Fairmont, West Virginia. But I ain't heard from this dude. And because even when it come to Paul Wall, like Paul Wall, he was known for grills before he even started rapping. You know what I'm saying? He was down there making grills for people down in Houston. And then he just, started putting out albums, and he got hot from rapping for a minute. And now he's not rapping at all, but people still getting grills, which is wild, man, to think that people are still out really getting grills, man.
Oh yeah, I always wanted a grill. I never got one though.
Man, that's crazy. But man, y'all, we went on a straight tangent there. But but no, I think when it comes to Myers Leonard, man, like
hmm
he I think what the Heat did, I think what the Heat did was BS, man. But at the same time, it's a business. It is
Yeah.
a business, and they completely made a business move. And
Mm-hmm.
what the wild part is the owner of the Heat, Mickey Harrison, is a Jewish person, and this dude made a Jewish slur on the Twitch game,
Yeah, and
and
and I think the Heat, like you said, was a business decision. So they didn't go in it with their emotions, because I don't know how his contract was written up. He might have had guaranteed money in there, right?
he did.
So don't kick him out, kick him off, and you have to give him that guaranteed money. Trade him so that way he's somebody else's. Um, Somebody else has to deal with him. But Oklahoma City, that's I guess that's right for him too.
Yeah, but I don't think he's never gonna play a game though. I
hmm
think I think Oklahoma City bit the bullet on this one just to uh free up some cap space type of
hmm
thing. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
wouldn't have done it if it wouldn't have benefited them in a way. But then Myers Leonard wasn't playing anyway. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? He was injured. So he
Well,
hasn't played in a while.
yeah, because Oklahoma has all them picks, don't they? Don't they got a ton of picks?
They do got a ton of picks. So they trying to,
Mm-hmm.
get in the sweepstakes of being able to, all right, when free agency come around, this contract is gonna. I'm thinking that it's gonna be an expiring contract, and so then they'll be able to tie that in with some picks to see if they can entice any of these guys to come in, or even a mid level guy, somebody who isn't quite frankly a superstar, but at least see if they can pull a star in that can at least draw some fans to come in. But
I
like I
don't.
said, oh, go ahead, you got it.
I don't think they're gonna be able to do that in their market. I think they're gonna have to do like they're doing, try and get it to the draft and build it through picks. Because like who really wants to go to Oklahoma City?
Nobody. Look, dude. Look, they big three, all of the big three gone, and then two of the big. Dude, the wildest part is that team that they had that went to the finals when they played the Heat. Just about everybody other than Russell Westbrook
Is
is
on.
in Brooklyn right now. They
Mhm.
got KD, Jeff Green, James Harden, and it was another guy.
Mhm.
I think his name was Robinson or something like that. All of those dudes are on the Brooklyn Nets right now. That is insane. That's a crazy stat. But I've been feeling funny about Myers Leonard, man, ever since he didn't take a knee. When everybody was taking a knee, other than Isaac, what the fuck his name? Went to Florida State. Yeah, he decided not to kneel, and then I ain't trying to be funny, but the very next game, the man, no, I think it was the same game. He tore his ACL,
Mhm.
but the thing is, man, using this whole little military thing, like the military don't own the flag. You know what I'm saying? They just wear it. I thought that excuse was played out from the very beginning. I think that Myers Leonard, because what he did was a lot of people felt that it flipped it. Like it used to take a lot of courage to take a knee during the national anthem, and then people flipped it by saying that, oh, well, now it takes a lot of courage not to take a knee during the national anthem. So
Mhm.
I thought that concept of it was BS as well. And while we speaking about the national anthem, did you hear that clip of that guy who called that girl's basketball team that was taking the knee? He called them fucking niggers and hoped that they lose. And then he blamed it on he's a type 1 diabetic. Man, people wilding out here, man. Because he didn't know the thing was still on. The
Yeah. The
because
camera.
like not well the audio. He thought the audio
Okay.
had cut off, and he was just sitting there calling these girls fucking niggers for taking the knee, and then his excuse for calling them that was he said he's a type 1 diabetic and all this little stuff. But the end story is that those girls end up winning the state championship. So you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They was able to put the middle finger back at that dude. But my thing is, I get it. It's a business, but at the same time, you got to take a stance as well.
Yeah.
Man, listen, Deshaun Watson,
Mm.
he he's in some shit now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I think the timing is funny of it,
Mm.
because some of these allegations go back to December of 2020, but we ain't hear nothing. Now
Mm.
all of a sudden, there are three. The third lawsuit about him just came out today. There are people who are saying that he has committed sexual assault. Two of the people, or what? Yeah, it was two people who tried to settle out in court for 100 grand. Um, he said no. He said because he didn't do no wrongdoing. It's
Mhm.
all civil suits. And the funny thing about the civil suits is they're trying to make it seem like it's not a money thing, because I think that they said that to start a civil suit it has to be at least $500.
Mhm.
So they're starting the civil suits at $500 to make it seem like
Mhm.
it's not about money. And so there's a third lawsuit that came out today. Said that he was at a massage parlor and he tried to force her to give him oral sex. Man, with all these trade allegations that are out, Deshaun Watson has a no trade clause.
Mm-hmm.
It came out that he said that two destinations that he would like to go to is San Francisco and Denver Broncos. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on, man, all of these allegations and lawsuits and stuff coming out?
Um, man, I feel sorry for all involved. Um, it's sad that you know, we have to that sometimes we have to question the victims when we shouldn't, you know. But we've also seen, of black men also being falsely accused too. What's the name of that linebacker from Georgia that spent time in prison? Um, I forgot. He spent time in prison because the girl said uh, he raped her, but then it came out. She came out later and said it was consensual. Um,
I know what you're talking about, but I can't
yeah.
remember his name.
hmm and so it's rough on all sides. For the victims, also for him. Especially for him at this time when he's trying to um, leave a toxic situation. Toxic situations are being brought up. I just uh, pray for everybody on both sides of the situation and hope they get down to the root of the issue and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you, and but I mean, I know what it's like. Totally, it's not nothing like this. I just know what it's like. As far as false allegations and
hmm
things like that, and how you never want the person that is the victim, or in sometimes in some cases, because I'm gonna play all cards here, the people
hmm
that are victims and some people who play the victim, and then how some people that are the accusers can be the victims. And so when I look at this situation, it's just like I'm not being insensitive, but you also got to look at the timing, because
hmm
two of the allegations were December of 2020. You know what I'm saying? We're heading into April. Like,
hmm
why these allegations wasn't spoken about? Why it wasn't in the news? And then you go straight to civil. You're not trying to go for criminal
hmm
things. And so then Houston is playing hardball with Deshaun, and so what this could do, because what this information can do is it can run away the suitors that he wants to go, because Deshaun held all the cards here
hmm
because he has a no trade clause. And he can also play hardball by saying that, yo, I only want to go to these two destinations. And so they kind of flipped it, and it's like, okay, well, we're going to see how much these teams really want you. We're going to damage your character.
hmm
So now, within me saying that, I'm not saying that these victims are making false, allegations against him. I'm just, doing my responsible thing as a podcaster by also saying that within all this stuff going on, you have to consider everything. And it's just that the timing of the stuff going on, you got the draft coming up here soon. And like all of these teams, like the dominoes are starting to fall. Like quarterbacks are starting to get signed. That got a new deal. You know what I'm saying? Russell Wilson is trying to get traded. And so all of these, Ryan Fitzpatrick just got signed by the Washington Redskins. I just saw Mitchell Trubisky. I don't know why, but he's going to the Bills when they already got Josh Allen. So like a lot of these quarterback things are starting to fall, and it's like now a guy that when he was a rookie, I'm talking about Deshaun Watson, who donated money to the oh man, the people that serve their food, like the servers, like he
Mm,
gave like all those servers money. No, it was when the pandemic started. It was last
mhm.
year. You know, so he seems to be a good guy. You know, he does things in the community, and now all of a sudden his character is being questioned. You know what I'm saying? With these sexual allegations coming against him.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's just rough um, for everybody involved. You know, especially as he was starting to take control of his own career. And you know, you go back for me, I think about the Kevin Hart situation, right, where it was his own people that set him up, trying to extort him for money, um, and stuff. So it's mm,
Yeah, it's a tough thing to speak on, man, because it's like you don't wanna be insensitive to people,
mm-hmm,
man. So it's definitely a bad situations of all parties, like you mentioned, and obviously we're gonna see this thing play out, man. It's definitely gonna
mm-hmm.
play out. So, man, listen, people got to understand, like this had to happen, Mark. You know what I'm saying? We both Florida State guys.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying, I don't have the pleasure of being from Tallahassee and actually being in the area. You are, so I'm one of those out of state fans, but you're
Mm.
actually an in-state fan. So, man, what like from the thing that's been going on, man, or what are some of your expectations, or some of the things that you like to dislike? What's been going on? Let's say
Um,
for the past year, let's say.
but, I guess I do like what's going on. They were able to, I guess, get rid of, um, I guess, a lot of players that didn't want to be there. Um, and I think they're going to give coach time to bring in his own players. And I also like how he used the transfer pool. You know, as far as him coming from what was it, Middle Tennessee? He probably
No, no,
knows.
he can't. No, he came from
No,
Memphis.
Memphis. Um, he probably knows the transfer pool pretty well, and I think he did a really good job using transfer in the transfer pool to build up the roster. But at the same time, we might still have the same issue, which I don't care who you get at quarterback. If that line ain't protecting, I don't know. You
Yeah,
gonna you gonna need
yeah,
Mike Vick back there to play quarterback.
and then the thing is, I mean, Travis was like the closest thing to it, as
Mm-hmm.
far as what they had on that roster. I look at what Novell has been able to do in this short amount of time, and using the transfer portal the way that he's been using it both ways, inside and out. Like he having players leaving, and he bringing guys in, and he has been heavily bringing in guys from the SEC. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's really never a bad thing. Bringing in guys like that, but then also he brought in Mackenzie Milton. You know
Mm-hmm.
very well, went to the school you
Yeah.
teach at. Um, he had injury problems, man. Um,
Yeah.
and it's interesting he chose Florida State because, like you said, that they have had an offensive line issue. But hopefully, with the moves that he made and these guys having another year under their belt, um, hopefully they can protect him. I don't know how he's going to run this year because we see Travis. He's a dual threat quarterback, but that dual man is but it's about 80% running. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a great passer. I don't know if he's gonna have a special package for him. For him to come in and like give us some kind of spark or something like that. But me and you spoke about this the other day, and I mean, obviously, we want to see Florida State win, but at the same time, it's also that, well, for me, I can speak for myself. There's also like the sour taste of like, I felt like if Willie Taggart would have had the time, he
Mm-hmm.
probably would have been able to turn this
Yeah.
program around. But like if Novell, get them back on track to where they were, 2013, 2014, around that time, you know, I'm gonna be excited, but it's also gonna be that little thing. Because even, I mean, I don't know if you had this feeling, but I was never fond of Jimbo Fisher, even when he was winning. Like,
Well, for me, I was mad at Florida State when they didn't let Bobby do his one extra year that he wanted to do because they were afraid Jimbo was going to leave. Because I thought as much as Bobby did for Florida State, if he wants one extra year, give him the one extra year, um, and stuff. And then on the Taggart situation, I thought it was a little unfair, especially for his first year, because Florida State was on academic probation about to lose scholarships, and so his first year focus wasn't on actually playing football. It was making sure the players were eligible to be on the field.
mm-hmm.
So he didn't lose scholarships, and that's a tough thing when your focus isn't on football. Your focus is on making sure your players are able to play. Make sure you're able to keep all your scholarships. So there was a lot of behind the scenes things that he had to clean up that Norvell doesn't have to deal with. Um, he didn't have to deal with coming in his first year.
Yeah, like he's dealing with trying to put a good team out on the field. Like Willie was dealt with, okay, I want to put a good team on the field, but also I got to keep these guys on the field. I got to get everybody's
Yes.
grades up. I got to, these guys got to be disciplined because of the lack of discipline that they had, under a guy like Jimbo
Yeah.
Fisher, who just really got to the point where he just didn't give a shit. He didn't care what was going on. He didn't like he always
Mhm.
had his 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And like my problem with
Yeah.
Jimbo was the same thing that you had. Now you can't blame him in the beginning. Like you said, Florida State, they could have gave
Mhm.
him that year because this is what Florida State have forgotten.
Mhm.
What they forgotten was 1975.
Mhm.
They forgot how they was about to cancel the football program because it was
Mhm.
so damn bad. And
Mhm.
Bobby Bowden took a job when he had, at the time, a great job in West Virginia. And he went out on a limb to go to a school whose football program was about to get, demolished. And he flipped y'all into a power. And
Yeah.
all he asked for, give me one more year. And y'all was
Mhm.
like, nah, we might lose this dude and we're going to bring him
Mhm.
in. And like, even though he won a national championship, I was happy, but I was like, something about that guy, man. You know what I'm saying? He
But
just always felt like a snake, man.
but
And
I also blame Florida State too. At the same time, right? He was saying we need new facilities. We need this. I feel like Florida State did do Jimbo wrong too. Just like I feel like WU did Coach Rod wrong too. Like Coach Rod, when he left to go to Michigan, he was asking for higher wages for his salary and new facilities. Jimbo was asking for new facilities and all this stuff. And now after they get rid of Willie, they magically find all this money to get new facilities and all that stuff. Because to recruit these new players, like you look at Clemson's football facility, that thing is crazy, right? The football
yeah,
only facility.
yeah, but Clemson, they got space too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of country land out there. Dude, I actually delivered to that when they was building that inside facility. I actually delivered to that joint when it was a gravel road out there and I had to run packages out there. So like you know, I've only been to Tallahassee that one time, but once you took me around, and
Mm-hmm.
Tallahassee is the capital. Like it didn't seem like there was a lot of space to put a whole
Um,
bunch of just, what I'm saying, facilities just all over town.
yeah, I mean the space was an issue, but at the same time, if you want to bring the recruits, you gonna find space.
See, because that would have been a situation where they would have had to ask people to sell so they could get this property, demolish
Mhm.
these houses or businesses or whatever the case may be. Like Clemson, like their university, it's like I mean, it's a tight area. You know what I'm saying? And then like before they put that facility out there, dude, it wasn't nothing but fields out there. Like it
Yeah.
was it was nothing out there. So when they was able to, start winning and actually start putting money in the football program, like they didn't have to, pay for space. It was just like, man,
Well,
we got this huge field over here. Let's just
but
build it over there.
that was Florida State's problem, though. They thought they could still recruit and win with the same things they had that they built in the '90s, right? Like you see Alabama, you see Clemson, you see Michigan, Ohio State. They keep building new things to attract these players, and Florida State is like, well, we're gonna live off our name. We're gonna live off of the history of Florida State. Bro,
I mean,
these kids don't care about history.
no, they don't. But they did build the new locker room. They did
Yeah,
build the inside facility. They
yeah.
built that new part on the top of the field where they, add a couple more bleachers
But
and put the little shit.
remember, this was after Jimbo asked it and they denied him and he left.
Yeah, some of it. He did get the inside facility in the new locker room. He did get that stuff while he was there. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I I know that when you are winning, you can pull the leverage thing on them. But I still think it's to a certain degree of like, yo, like every year, like you pulling this leverage thing, like after we already gave you a deal, like I gotten to the point where I just got tired of Jimbo as well. Like I
Mm-hmm.
understand like you want new facilities to get kids in, but then at the same time it's like why would kids want to come play for you if every year you're like, yo, I might be leaving? Because I'm pretty sure when he's sitting down with these kids, oh, I'm gonna be here. I'm pretty sure he probably say 3 years because he's trying to tell these guys that y'all are gonna be leaving after y'all third season. So how can you tell these kids, yo, I'm gonna be here for you 3 years that you're here, and then the end of the season, hey, if y'all don't give me this, I'm leaving. Like I wouldn't want to go there either. Like if I put my trust in the coach, like if I went to this school simply because of the system that y'all run, right? Like let's forget that I'm a Florida State fan. Let's say what I'm saying, South Florida hit me and they, I play defensive back and they run more of a cover three scheme. And let's say I play better in a cover three scheme. Like I would go there because of the defensive coordinator and the head coach are running that scheme. But it's like if he's if I see after 1 year this dude is like, yo, if y'all don't give me this, I'm dipping out, and then they could bring in another coach because people don't understand how important schemes are.
It
That's what
is.
messed. That's what messed up on Namni Asamoah. Namni Asamoah was a great corner when he played for the Oakland Raiders because they ran a cover three scheme. When he went to Philadelphia, when they built that dream team that Vince Young called it, and they had him running man coverage,
Mhm.
that deal looked terrible.
Mhm.
So the whole point I'm trying to make is like, yeah, Florida State, you have to evolve with the times, and like you said, find that space.
Mhm.
You got to spend money to make money. Look what they did. They fired Willie Taggart, and
Mhm.
look how quickly they found that buyout money in less than a
Yeah,
day. So it's money out there. You just got to be willing to spend it.
yeah. But see, that's where I get at. The money was there to buy. I don't care. I don't care how much land they didn't have. If you got the money, people gonna sell. And Florida State had the money. They
They
got
did.
old. Florida State got old money. You know what I mean? They got old money.
I am pretty sure they do, man. I'm pretty sure they
And
do. And
like
like, man,
Clemson got old money, just like Texas A&M. They got old money. You know what I mean? Alabama, they got old money. You
and
know what I mean?
they flexing it. They flexing it, man.
Flexing.
They're just like Alabama. Nick Saban said that he wanted something, and like it wasn't even approved by like the city or something like that. They started digging before he even got approved by the mayor or whoever they got to talk to. Like Nick Saban wanted it, they started building it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So like Nick Saban is really like the highest paid person in the state of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that dude gets wherever he wants. And see, that's what Jimbo wanted. You know, and that's what pretty much he's getting down in Texas A&M,
But
down in
he
College
ain't
Station.
he ain't producing.
Nah, nah, he ain't producing, but I mean, but they ain't trash either.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they was in a bowl game. Like, you know what I'm saying? His quarterback is you know, probably considered like the, I don't know, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth quarterback that's coming in the draft. So people feel that he got talent on that team, and like they look. I wanted the worst for him, to be honest with you. I ain't gonna lie on this podcast. Like I was hoping Texas A&M were gonna be trash, but they not trash. They pretty decent, but you know, I personally don't know what to expect out of this year because of the turnover. Anytime you have as much turnover as they flip this roster, it's just hard to say like where they're gonna fall. You know, because I mean, really, the only done deals in the ACC right now is Clemson. Um, you gotta put North Carolina in there. I hate to say it, but you got to put Notre Dame in there.
For Miami.
Miami is better. Miami is definitely better. So
Hey,
it's just,
I just need him to have a close game with Miami. Like, bro, we can't be getting blown out by Miami.
man, and I'm like, and I understand that coming from you, and I'm like, yo, we can't get blown out by Clemson, man. Like, come on, man. Like, man, I am in Orange County, my guy. Like, man, I can't.
But see, it's a little different. Like Miami is like for us, like Clemson is national championship caliber, right? Miami ain't there yet, bro.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And Miami is one of our biggest rivals, um, and stuff. So it's like we don't want to lose to Miami, but you damn sure don't need to get blown out by them.
And you got to put Florida in there too. Florida's
Yeah, Florida.
back on the schedule. They're back on the schedule, and like that's another team where it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, like
Yeah.
we like at least, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
for bragging rights, you at least wanted to be a close game, but
But
like,
that's like one of those rivalry games, right? Excuse me. It doesn't matter how good or how bad each team is, bruh. Both teams is coming to bring it. We
oh
can have
yeah,
we can have a 1-8 record, but that one game right there, we coming to bring it.
oh, okay. So speaking of that, right? Since you took it there, so there's the thing going on with Ohio State and Michigan, right? Been going on forever, and as far as his overall record,
Mm-hmm.
Jim Harbaugh has a good winning record. But the problem is he's like 0-8 or 0-9 against Ohio State. So where do you go there? Now he got a new deal, but where do you go there? Because it's like he's winning. He has a winning record. Like, and then like, dude, he finished this year. I think he finished in the top. It might even been the top 5. He at least have a top 10 class this year, but he still hasn't won against Ohio State. So where do you go on something like that?
Hey, I'm surprised Michigan have held on this long. Like, I'm actually kind of glad though. They finally showing loyalty to the coach. Yes, he's not beating Ohio State, but he's still keeping Michigan relevant and stuff. But that's something I don't know. That's something I don't know, something he need to fix.
Yeah,
Um,
because like with this.
I don't know if I can have a coach lose in Miami 8 times.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, it's like where do you go? It's like if you are finishing in the top 25 pretty much every year since you've been here, you have a winning record, you go into a bowl game every year, you have good recruiting classes, but you just can't beat that one rival.
Yeah, and so but see, then you end up in the trap, the Miami trap, right? Remember when Miami let go of what's his name, Butch Davis,
Yeah.
in like 2000. How many coaches has Miami been through since they let him go?
Hold on, wait a minute. The 2000, you meaning Larry Coker?
Is that him? Yeah.
Larry Coker's the one that won that championship with Ken Dorsey.
Okay.
And
Um.
like and they let him go after like 3 years. Like he won like one or two national championships. Then
Yeah.
like they got
Yeah.
him out of there.
And then you see how like they've never been the same. Since like they went through they've gone through so many coaches. It became a coaching carousel. Um, and so that's what I'm saying. So like is you gotta look at it both ways. You're like, yeah, we're not beating this team, but we're having winning records and we're making bowl games. To we're not even we're going through the coaching carousel and still not making bowl and still making bowl games. We might as well start with the coach we had that was making bowl games, and we 20 years down the road, and we still fighting.
Yep. See, that's the problem, man. That's that grass ain't always green on the other side, man. And that's what I was so disappointed about Florida State was the fact of, people was hitting us with that joke of, what I'm saying, y'all done had, three coaches in 5 years thing. And it's just like, well, damn, did you forget that we had one coach for, 36 years? And then we had Jimbo for like 7. It's like, okay, after Jimbo, yeah, it got a little shaky, but it's like I still felt like they pulled the trigger too fast. Even something that you was close to. Look what Scott Frost did down there in Central Florida, where you at. And now he wanted to go to Nebraska so damn bad. And look, this dude, at one point, he was 1-8 up in Nebraska. And it's just like, but Nebraska's giving him a chance. They're being loyal to him. Like, they're not firing him.
Well, because then he win. He won Nebraska national championship, so he's a hometown. You know what I mean? He's a homeboy.
True, but like, how far does that go? Because look, Michigan did it with when Brady Hoke. Brady Hoke was a Michigan man. They fired him in like 3 years. They like, get him out of here. So like that's that one thing of like hiring your friends, kind of like. It's like if it gets to that point, it's like if you hire your friend, you also got to be willing to fire your friend as well. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of land in the middle there. But man, listen.
Yeah.
I totally appreciate everything you do, Mark, coming on the podcast with me and everything, man. Like I tell everybody, like you was the day one, you was the first person. Like I tell the story, like I was on Scoots Bronson podcast one time, and I told the story of how I was even introduced to podcast. I was like, it was Mark. I was like, he introduced me to the Breakfast Club, and then he told me, he's like, yo, Angela Yee and Charlamagne got a podcast. And I was like, man, what is a podcast? And then I was like, so the first 2 podcasts I listened to were Brilliant Idiots and Lip Service. And you know what I'm saying? And that took me to where I am now. So I'm always in gratitude for you for that, man. And also listening to the very first episode, man, and giving me pointers on it.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. Before I get out, man, also, man, I gotta shout out Uncle Washington. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not sure, man. It's up in the air.
Yeah.
like I said, I told him when I spoke with him, I tell you don't hang up, man. I'm
Okay.
when I end the podcast, but like I told him, basically like, dude, the very first thing is get better.
Oh
Like
yeah, always get
don't
better.
like, dude, don't worry about the podcast, man. The podcast is fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your livelihood is more important. So I was like, just worry about that because he was asking questions. Like, and I was like, listen, man. I was like, I'm good, man. I was like, listen, I said, I got Mark coming on the podcast. I was like, man, we got things working out here. So, like, you just, focus on getting better. So, prayers out to that guy.
Oh yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? That's my dude. Love that dude. Shout out to Casey. Appreciate everything he does for the podcast, all the music and everything he do. Appreciate that dude. Also, shout out to my co-host of the Viewers Anonymous podcast, Scoots Bronson. We just put out. Let me see. The last thing we put out Glory Road. We did that, and then episode before that is Snowfall, episode 4. We're gonna be recording episode 5 tomorrow night. So everybody go check out the Viewers Anonymous. And we did before that one we did a appreciation episode, Charlize Theron. So go check that out as well. Um, appreciate the last guest that I had on the last guest, because it was a double feature. The last guest on this podcast was Willie McGee. Shout out to Willie. You know what I'm saying? Both of us went to school with Willie. I appreciate him jumping on the podcast with me. So that turned out to be a really good interview. So I appreciate him for taking out the time. Also shout out to Candace. I appreciate all her feedback on all the podcasts and appreciate her support. And shout out to Jamar. So do you, Mark, got any last words, man, before we close this podcast out, man?
Man, I just want to tell the world, be safe out there. Take care of yourself physically and mentally, and just be safe.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that, man. And man, this was episode 204 of the Stolen Time Podcast, and we are out.